Hello and what is up, beautiful people? Today would be another new installment on my training at home workout blog, my quote unquote bodyweight bodybuilding style of training. I know some of you guys are now believing slowly and surely on the stigma that bodyweight exercises cannot build muscle or even strength. Now, I'm going to show you my tips and methods on how I can maintain or even crack out some on how you can crank out just a little bit of gains or even continuous. Yet I'm going to say not guaranteed that it will be fast, but again, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Might as well get some slow gains than no gains at all. And in this what do you call this footage, I'll be using as much raw footage as I can. I'm doing a 10 by 10 inverted rows. I know some of you are be thinking bodyweight rows are an easy cake, a walk in the park, but if you change some of the intensities, uh, volume, most especially high volume calisthenics, just as I'm doing here, doing short to minimal rest as much as possible in between sets. Oh man, the intensity, you can even call this a warm up. You can probably use it as uh, back widening routine. Yeah, sure, weighted pull ups, weighted chins, high rep pull ups are just as uh, badass as more quote unquote Chad, if you will. But I think I learned this from Alex Leonidas that doing inverted rows first before your heavy vertical pulls or even your heavy um, free weight rows, your classic barbell rows or dumbbell rows, hams rows, machines rows, whatsoever. Uh, Not only is it more easier on the joints, but getting an easy quick pump without uh, sacrificing too much time from setting up the move or sorry the exercise, competing with weights with fellow gym members. Just use an empty barbell, set it up on a squat rack, use a Smith machine, or as you can see I'm doing here, doing it with rings. And the advantage with using rings is you can rotate and move your wrist freely as you wish. You can do neutral, you can do basic pronated grip, or do it like chin up grip where it's in supinated. But my problem with using a supinated grip, as some of the majority of lifters tend to encounter, is your forearms and biceps, even the brachialis, tend to compensate once your back gets more fatigue. And yeah, sure, having a pumped bigger forearms biceps is not exactly a bad type of gain, but the focus here is to as much warm up your back as much as possible, your rotator cuffs, your core, and your overall coordination, wherein it would have to make you prepared for the next lifts, most especially your staple heavy lifts to come. And doing this on a hot sunny afternoon on my rooftop here at my home, my parents' house. Oh man, the amount of sweat you'll build up, and it builds character at the end of the day. High volume calisthenics not only builds you physically but mentally and psychologically, whether you want to continue or not. Because I mean, lifting weights and machines are quote unquote more optimal, but in times where you will have to resort in limited to no equipment, I mean, calisthenics and even yoga. You haven't seen yogis? They're jacked out of their minds, especially those who do planches, do crow handstands, frog stands, and even a handstand. You know how wide and thick their shoulder and back is? Even their core. I don't think they even do ab exercises. And then again, I think I did a down set on the dips. Now, what I did with the inverted bodyweight rows is a 10 by 10 again, 10 sets of 10 reps. So 10 sets, and in those 10 sets you did 10 reps, so a total of 100. Then you up the intensity by having minimal rest. Minimum is 10 seconds up to 1 minute. And here I'm doing downset. Now the difference with doing downsets is you select a specific number. Most of the time it's 15, 12, 10 in my case. Now, on that 15th rep, um, so your first set would be so you chose the number, sorry. And then on the first set, you do, let's say you chose 15 reps. Now, in the second set, you would decrease the total rep by 1. So, in your first set, you do 15. The second set, you do 14. And then so on and so forth until you're reached the 15th set, which would account to just only 1 rep. I know it sounds easy, but once you do this in practice, not just in theory, wait until you get those sick calisthenic pumps. As you can see here, I'm already pumped. My lower chest, my shoulders are starting to striate. My triceps already fatigue, and even see some of my teres major, my rhomboids are starting to pop. I know. As you can see here, dealing with the afternoon heat as well. And I've never noticed how big my traps are. I mean, that's the advantage of having narrow clavicles. I know. I think I'm going to upload another, maybe a 10 to 15 minute video rant regarding genetics, as I've noticed bodybuilding, if you would like to call it a sport, is the only type of quote unquote sport that deals with nihilistic individuals. Most of the time, it's young men around my age or younger that would complain, oh, why should I even bother? I don't have the quote unquote genetics. I don't have the capability, not necessarily capability, because for one, first of all, you cannot change what's already given to you at birth. Your genetics sets you up since you've been born into this world. You cannot change the fact that uh, you have maybe longer arms, longer limb lengths, you're short, you're tall, unless you do some jackhammer types of surgery, which would enhance your height or your limb length. But at the end of the day, unless you're trying to compete professionally on, again, the sport of bodybuilding, performance enhancing performance enhancing drugs uh, is one of the key factors on if you're going to win or not. But genetics, I mean, again, I previously mentioned I have narrow clavicles, I have long arms for my height, which again is a no bueno on my goal on having 18-inch arms, currently 17.5. But hey, I have shitty genetics. I mean, if I didn't started doing calisthenics, high volume calisthenics, doing push-ups and abs on my room, on my living room, and then started to lift weights back in 2015 to 2017, and looking now, maybe in an alternate universe wherein I actually never did all of that, and then he decided to see me in my current timeline, which is here. Maybe he'd probably think that genetics at the end of the day won't matter. Yes, I know I don't look that very impressive by bodybuilding standards, especially professional bodybuilding standards, but hey, I have my own goals. Again, 18 inches arms, a wider shoulder now, since I want to look more jacked even with clothes on, a wider back, since my chest is overpowering my physique. I look like I have B cups for chest. I mean, the end of the day looks good, and then try to achieve in the performance side of the spectrum, which I want to achieve at least a straddle planche. So prioritizing heavy dips and static skills, which would also get me huge chests and stronger shoulders, stronger triceps, and a stronger straight arm strength. Yeah. So, uh, been ranting for a very long time again. Probably do a separate video regarding what I would like to call the terminology of chasing the dragon or chasing the end of the rainbow, which some of you Irish folks would believe that would be the pot of gold, wherein the pot of gold is located, and how I would incorporate it with uh, bodybuilding genetics is at the end of the day, young men, young boys, they always tend to chase this imaginary dragon, which is genetics. They cannot achieve because they have their own unique individual genetics, genetic limitations. But would you blame genetics as to why you cannot achieve your genetic or your bodybuilding goals, your fitness goals, uh, or is it your own fault that you tried to not achieve it in the first place? Instead, blame it on others, uh, even blame uh, bodybuilding, uh, famous bodybuilding names. Again, this is also the problem with social media nowadays. Again, I've been mentioning it in my previous videos back then during my high school 2015 to 2017. Bodybuilding on social media platforms used to be a niche type of topic. Nobody, I mean, maybe on the US, it's quite famous here in maybe in other countries, most especially in Asia. I live in the Philippines. Nobody talked about it that much. That's why um, seeing a bodybuilder in public here in the Philippines, everybody would accuse them very easily of taking anabolic steroids, PEDs, and again, my physique is not that impressive. I've heard young men, young boys saying that, sorry, saying that I look like I took PEDs. I mean, really? Is that how low your standards are in terms of natural bodybuilding? Maybe. Maybe at the end of the day, it's, I know, I mean, how, I know how cheesy this sounds, but maybe a compliment for the bodybuilding community. And I would just like to segue doing 10 by 10 or 10 down pull ups. I've never noticed how wide I'm getting from prioritizing teres major. I know latissimus dorsi is the primary concern when you want to be wide on the front, but teres major. Oh man, if you have wide teres major, you can probably get away with having small lats the same way you can have big calves but small quads, and maybe even possibly small hamstrings and um, adductors. But again, my philosophy as well. You cannot leave all stones unturned. Um, do what is useful. Remove what is necessary. Also, a philosophy by Bruce Lee. And then what else was I trying to say? Oh yeah, so bodybuilding is a niche topic back then during my high school, during on social media platforms, but today the rise of fake natural influencer, quote unquote natural influencers, and those preaching their training methodologies in an unrealistic way to most especially young boys, novices, even intermediates, wherein they would have to train like a juice head and then undereat, focus on just getting too lean, afraid to bulk, working out even twice a day. I don't know how stupid that is. Even before I was uh I was training like a bodybuilder back then, training more for endurance and high volume calisthenics. I know overtraining is a real thing, and also achieving unrealistic uh, goals. For example, looking like your favorite anime character or your favorite cartoon character for less than a year. Most of the time, it's 6 to 9 months, and then I've seen countless bots saying that I don't look that impressive. I mean, it's comedy writing itself. How ironic that some of these people follow or want to look like their favorite anime character, but they're so negative in the idea of training, anyways, even with bad quote unquote genetics, that they started to um, resort to I don't know the what do you call this specific term, letting out their negative energies to other people, that they cannot achieve their goals just because of an uncontrollable factor that they cannot again they cannot control in their own command, and then following fake net influencers, uh, teaching them unrealistic goals on an unrealistic time frame, again 6 to 9 months. uh, I actually noticed some of my gains in my first 1 to 2 years of doing calisthenics and terms of size and strength. But as a beginner, yeah, uh, doing doing your workout plans on a consistent basis with an on-point nutrition and rest and recovery would yield you more faster gains. But trying to say that you would look like, let's say, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Henry Cavill's Superman, I'm not saying they're not achievable in some way, shape, or form, but in 6 to 9 months, it's kind of quite suspicious. And then here, try to segue again. Doing curls for the girls. Yes, even for calisthenic athletes, they should also hit their isolations. I know the stigma of also only doing body weights. Again, leaving no stones unturned. I mean, at the end of the day, doing curls with free weights is more optimal than just trying to do, say, pelican curls or bodyweight curls. Yes, maybe doing high volume, but the technical aspect of trying to do it the correct manner, hitting it in the right spot, again, the bicep, and then doing it in a calisthenics perspective. I mean, it's unavoidable that you would probably hit your lats and chest. Yes, even the chest, most especially in pelican girls, because it resembles a chest fly in a way, even the ring chest flies. So doing free weight curls won't even hurt you at the end of the day. It's not like you're going to die. The calisthenics community would, what do you call this, atone you, or probably uh, see you as a reject of their society. I mean, again, who are you even going to, or why are you even training in the first place? Are you training for their validation, or it's because you want to achieve your goal as much as fast, or as fast as optimally as possible? In this case, maybe just do the curls. I mean, big biceps won't even hurt. I mean, it would hurt if you try to ego lift, most especially in isolation exercises. Oh my god, my tongue is getting twisted. I know. Then maybe doing probably the, oh yeah, since I'm also limited with equipments in terms of weights. I know they look heavy, but they actually aren't. It's either I got them too strong from doing incline curls, but they're too light for me now. So doing some intensity techniques like doing my reps, drop sets, taking a rest, and then finishing my 15 reps of uh, hammer curls, which would hit my brachialis and brachioradialis. Yes, that would be the top secret. And also adding up inches on my arms and looking more full, especially on clothes. The hidden muscle in between the bicep and triceps, the brachialis, and also having bigger forearms. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man, seeing 90s action stars like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger having big forearms, and then veiny forearms looks, or is the epitome of physical masculinity. So probably trying to, what do you call this, think about finishing it with more more will, more drive, but here I did it anyways. I'm tired, dehydrated. Not really like the bad type of dehydrated. I forget to keep drinking water. Again, I did this in the afternoon heat, and then doing some skiers, targeting my rear delts, a little bit of my rhomboids and traps. Again, also having wide shoulders would prioritize more of my side and rear delts. Yes, you can see that my front delts are also a weak spot, but I tend to hit it just as much in overhead pressing and incline pressing, but maybe sprinkling a little bit of isolation in my front raise won't hurt. So that would be it. Thank you for watching and have a good day.